welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another video, and this time I'm going to be doing Jacoby J's nails. If you don't know who he is, be sure to go check out his Instagram. I'll be sure to leave his information down below, but he is such an amazing person. He's so sweet, he's funny, he's outgoing, and he's great at doing makeup, so be sure to go check him out. But anyways, we're starting off by pushing back his cuticles. Yes, his cuticles are pretty rough, so I'm just pushing them back, and then I am gonna come through and just clip away any of that dead skin. After that, I'm gonna be using a pair of nippers, and I'm just gonna be using the kind that I got from Amazon. As you guys know, I will be sure to leave the link in the description to all of the products that I will be using. Make sure that whenever you're removing any of that dead skin around the cuticle area, that you're very careful. You don't want to cut them. Make sure that you're only cutting away, the dead skin. Alrighty, so next we're going to go ahead and remove the shine from the natural nail. Remember, we are using a 180 sanding band. You don't want to use anything more coarse than a 180 because you don't want to damage your client's nails. And just a heads up, when you're doing a full set on a male, it's literally the same thing. Like, nothing is different than, just doing a full set. The only thing that is a bit different is that their nail bed is a little bit bigger. So, of course, you just have to apply bigger size tips, but that's it. Other than that, everything is exactly the same. But anyways, we're just removing the shine from the natural nail. Remember, you want to get around that cuticle area really good, so make sure that you go back and check. You want to dust the nails off and then go back and check to see if there's still any little shiny spots, and if there is, then of course just go back in and file that spot. After this, we're just gonna dust the nails off, and then we're gonna apply the nail tips. Alrighty, so now I'm just going to go in and apply the nail tips. Remember that when you're applying nail tips, you want to make sure that the nail tip is the right size. You want it to fit literally from sidewall to sidewall. You don't want it to be too small, or you don't want it to be too big, because you will get lifting. And then as you can see here, I am going to be adding some of his clips that he was able to get as well, just so you can get, a different view. But anyway, same thing, just applying the nail tips using the KDS glue. Make sure that you're sizing the nail tips, and then if you have a tip that's a little too small and then the next size up is a little too big, then as always, just go in and just follow the size just a little bit to make the nail tip fit perfectly. But this step is really important because, again, if you don't apply the right size tip, it is possible that you can get lifting. So make sure that you pay attention when you're doing this. So next, I'm going to go in and just trim the nails down to the desired length. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and measure each nail against each other. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys now that he wanted to keep his nails literally just plain. And I was trying to convince him to get, at least a nude color or some bling or some glitter. But he was just not going because it was his first time getting his nails done as well. So, he didn't want to do too much. But I did convince him to at least get a really light pink, which you will see at the end. But anyways, we're just going in and measuring the nail tips against each other. After this, we're going to be shaping them into a coffin shape. I'm using a 100-100 nail file. As always, we're filing at a 45-degree angle on the sides, and then filing at exactly a 90-degree angle at the free edge to make sure that the nail tip is super straight. And then of course, we blend the nail tip right in the middle. So again, 45-degree angle on the sides, 90-degree degree at the free edge and then just blend the nail tip in the middle. And the reason why we blend is because it just makes the nail tip look a lot more natural once we apply the acrylic. So once we're done shaping up the nails, I'm going in with my primer and I'm applying that on the natural nail. Remember, you only want to apply it on the natural nail and you don't want to get it on the skin. And then after this, we're going to be using our Mia Secret acrylic system in the color pink. And of course, I'm going to be using my alpha brush in a number 10. And we're going to be doing the 4-bar method. So I'm placing the first one right where the nail tip and the natural nail meet, brushing it down towards the tip, making sure that we're really gentle. The second one we're going to place right below that first one, closer to the tip, patting it down as always. Remember, you want to make sure that when you're applying your acrylic, you're super gentle. You don't want to just place the bead down and then brush it really hard. And a lot of the time I feel like, one, it makes the acrylic dry even faster, and then two, you could possibly, just brush all of that product off the nail. The third bead, we placed it closer to the cuticle area behind the first one. Same thing, patting it down and gently brushing it down towards the tip, making sure that we clean around the cuticle area. And then the fourth one would be right in the middle, and this is going to create our apex. Remember that we want to make sure that we have a nice apex because that's where our nail gets its strength from. And then also remember that you want to make sure that you pay attention to what you're doing. Look at your nail from different angles. You want to make sure that your nail tip is not too thin, or that your nail is too so flat or too flat, because if not, you will get breakage. So same thing for the other nails. We're doing the fork ball method. First bead right in the middle where the natural nail and the tip meets. Second one at the tip. Third one behind the first one, closer to the cuticle area. And then the fourth one, we apply right in the middle to build our apex. And then, of course, say you applied your first bead and it was a nice size bead to where your tip is thick enough. Then, of course, you're going to have to do some adjustment and then only apply acrylic where you need it. But I do suggest that, especially if you're a beginner, I suggest to work with a little product at a time. And even me, I've been doing nails for, 7 years now. And as you can see, I still work with a little bit of product at a time. You only want to work with product that you can control, or with the amount of product that you can control, because if you try using too much product and you're not able to control it, it's gonna run all over the skin. It's gonna be a hot mess. So I suggest just working with a little bit at a time, which is why I like doing the 4-ball method. And I feel like just having like a certain method just helps the process, and it becomes a lot more easier, knowing where you need to apply acrylic. But then, like I said, you have to make sure that you look at the nail from different angles, because if you just look at it from like the top, how you're looking at it from here, you're not able to see your imperfections, whether you have a little bump or whatever the case may be. You're not going to be able to see those things through your through the top. So make sure that you lift your nail and look at it from the sides, wherever you need to look at it from, but you want to make sure that you're able to catch those things, because again, if you don't have a nice apex, if your nail tip is too thin, or if you just have a really flat nail, most likely you could get breakage. So you want to make sure you work smarter and not harder. And again, the brush that I'm using is my Alpha brush in a number 10 in an oval shape. And just as a reminder, you want to make sure that when you're doing acrylic nails, even as a beginner, you want to make sure that you invest in a good nail brush, because I feel like that's one of your most, or it really is your most important tool when doing nails. Your brush can actually make or break your entire set. When you buy cheap brushes, like even the ones from Sally's, they like suck, and I can honestly say that from experience. The acrylic will continue to get stuck on your brush no matter how many times you wipe it off on a paper towel. That product is going to continue to build in your brush when you use the cheaper brushes. So even if you don't invest in a Mia Secret, or sorry, not Mia Secret, but Alpha brush, you still want to make sure that you invest in a good brush to make sure that you're able to, provide good work, because again, your brush has a lot to do with your work. If you don't, clean it off like you're supposed to, then of course, you will mess your brush up. But if you take care of it, it will last you a very long time if it's a good brush. So again, make sure that you're, even as a beginner, you invest in a good brush, because that is the key to doing good nails. Alrighty, so we're done with the first hand. So now we're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing on the other hand. Again, we're using the Mia Secret acrylic system in color pink and the Alpha brush in a number 10. The thing you see below me is actually the dust collector by Valentino. As you guys know, I have the Valentino manicure table. I get that questioned a lot, so I wanted to make sure I went ahead and said it, because I don't know if a lot of people know what it is, but it's just a dust collector. But what else? The paper towels that I'm using are the Viva paper towels. You can find them at Walmart, Dollar General, Target, wherever. They're just called the Viva paper towels, and they're just regular paper towels, but they're really absorbent compared to other paper towels. So I would suggest using those. And then also other people use the blue paper towels that mechanics use. Those work really good as well. Alrighty, so we finished applying the acrylic. So now we're going to go in with the same hand file and we're going to be reshaping the nails. So same thing, filing at a 45-degree angle on the sides, 90-degree angle at the free edge. And of course, we already have that coffin shape that we want. We just have to go back and redefine that shape because a lot of the time, once you apply the acrylic, it takes away from your shape or you will have those little rough edges. So we're just going in and perfecting that shape that's already there. So again, 45 degrees on the sides, 90-degree at the free edge. Okay, so next we're going to go in with the extra fine drill bit by Pana, and we're just filing the nails. Remember, we always start on the right side going over to the left side, just going back and forth until you're able to see where the cuticle is, where the natural nail is, and where the acrylic is. And then of course just filing the rest of the nails to make sure that you seal around that cuticle area, as well as to make sure that the acrylic is all nice and smooth. And then also remember that when you're using a drill bit or even just a hand file and you're filing over the top of the nail, you want to make sure that you don't file on one spot for too long. You want to keep your drill moving at all times, because if not, you will cause friction and it will cause your client's nail to burn. So again, make sure that you keep that drill moving, or if you're using a hand file, the same thing applies. You want to make sure you keep that file moving at all times, because if not, you will burn, or it will cause friction and it's going to cause your client's nail to burn, and it's not a good feeling. So make sure that you're very careful. But again, when you're doing this, it's really important that you get around that cuticle area really good. You don't want there to be any gaps between the natural nail and the acrylic, because if any water or just any type of moisture gets trapped under there, it will cause the acrylic to live. So make sure that again, you file around that cuticle area really good. Up next, I'm going to go in with the buffer, and we're just going to be buffing the nails really good. We don't want there to be any scratches from the hand file or the e-file, so we're making sure that we buff away any of those scratches, because if not, you will be able to see those through your polish. So again, we're just buffing the nails, and after this, we're going to go ahead and just dust the nails off, wipe them off, or of course, you could have your client go wash their hands, whatever works for you best.
So it's like the what's it called? It's like the
acrylic?
no, it's like not the final product,
okay.
but we're almost there. We're trying to see should we like do polish You see, I said polish instead of paint. You see that?
Oh.
Yeah. And then or bling, and then yeah. Here's my nail tech. Give yourself a little.
Not today.
She said. We didn't get you. We just got your little reaction. That's funny. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the video, he wanted to just keep them just plain, no polish at all. He just wanted a top coat. So I was able to convince him to at least get the Bubble Bath Gel Polish by OPI, which is what I'm doing. And I'm only going to be doing just one coat. That way they just look really, you know, natural and just with a really soft, you know, light color. So again, this is Bubble Bath by OPI. We're just doing one coat on each nail. We're curing for 30 seconds, and then after this we're going to apply the Madam Glam gel top coat, and we're going to cure that for 60 seconds. Alrighty, y'all, so here is the final look. Very cute and simple. So I really enjoyed working with him, so be sure to go check him out, and here's a little message from him.